The non-conference season comes to a close tonight on the ACC Network. Extra 20th ranked NC State at 11-1, hosting the 4-8 Loyola Maryland Greyhounds. From PNC Arena with Chris Corciani, my name is Andrew Sanders. Happy holidays, everybody. So glad you could join us. Chris, NC State comes in not just ranked inside the top 25, they're in the top 20, carrying the momentum from that win over Auburn.
We're off to a great start, 11-1. Coach Keats has his team in the top 20 for the first time. Tremendous excitement around this NC State Wolfpack program.
And then the Wolfpack followed up the win over Auburn on Saturday against USC Upstate. The bench came out with a school record 62 points. Well, Loyola of Maryland upset-minded today. If they're going to score the upset, they need a big game from their best scorer, Andrew Kostecka. He's not just their best scorer, he's the best scorer in the Patriot League.
Kostecka can do it in so many different ways, averaging just under 20 points a game, can score from inside, outside. He's also on the all-defensive team last year. Just a great player that NC State will have a main focus on.
We're ready to tip it up here in Raleigh. Kevon Scott, Wyatt Walker up the tip. NC State controls. This is Markel Johnson. So we get a look at the starting five for the Wolfpack. Johnson, Torrin Dorn with the basketball now. CJ Bryce, Braxton Beverly, who comes around on a curl, and Wyatt Walker. Dorn puts it on the deck, penetrates, and blew the left-handed layup.
Couldn't quite make it, but that was good offense. They went from side to side, good ball movement. That's what Coach Keats wants to see, especially early in the game.
Get a look at the starting five for the Greyhounds, and the big news in this one, their third leading scorer, Brent Holcomb, is out. They're doing it hockey style. They're calling it an upper body injury, but he is not dressed. He will not play, and so in his stead, the big man James Fives gets the start.
That's a body blow for them. They need all the bodies that they can have out there, and he's their leading scorer. He will be missed.
Kevon Scott gets the scoring underway. Chuck Champion went flying towards Bryce. Bryce just steps back and knocks down the jumper.
I tell you, Bryce, good to see him get off to a good start for Wolfpack fans. He has struggled. He hasn't played as well as he's capable of, and hopefully here with the new year, he'll start doing things that NC State expected.
This is Scott. Walker with a hand in his face. Loyola has struggled, to say the least, on the road this season. They're just 1-7. They did win at Binghamton. Beverly penetrating, and he'll scoop to the hoop and score.
You know, give credit to C.J. Bryce with a very good hit-ahead pass that really let Braxton get to the rim.
Meanwhile, NC State has enjoyed some home cooking. The Wolfpack have won 5 in a row. They've won all 9 games at home this season.
Yeah, this is an NC State team that just seems to be getting better and better every game. You know, they have so many different players that step up on any given night, but Coach Keats is really happy with this team thus far in the year.
First whistle will be a foul on Braxton Beverly, his first, team's first. On our officials today, Roger Ayers, Jerry Heater, Doug Sermons. Let's look at Braxton on the offensive end. You mentioned NC State getting better and better. I think nationally a lot of people realized that when they knocked off 7th-ranked Auburn. But on this 5-game win streak, they've got some wins against some other pretty good teams too, Penn State and Vanderbilt. So they have been racking up Power 5 victories.
Yeah, the Penn State win on the road or on a neutral court was very good, especially because that game was close early in the first half, and they played extremely well in the second half and just pulled away.
Chuck Champion, second leading scorer. He's a first-team all-name team, though. Love that. Chuck Champion.
Champion. He is a champion.
Scott with a strong take and missed the right-handed hook.
I tell you, Wyatt Walker does a good job of just playing sound defense without fouling there.
Johnson the feed inside, and now the NC State big man will go to work. And Scott will be whistled for the foul, his first.
See a good entry pass here from Markel Johnson into Wyatt Walker. I tell you, Wyatt Walker's a guy that the more you see him play, the more you really appreciate what he does. And Coach Keats is really happy with his 5 position with Funderburk and Walker. They're rebounding. They don't do anything that they're not capable of, and they're just giving that five position very good minutes.
Yeah, Walker in 21 minutes per game, 6 points, 4 rebounds. But to your point, not doing anything too much, just staying within himself. He shot 50% or above in all but one game this year. A dunk for Scott as Loyola gets out and runs a little bit. You thought that NC State, they generally want to play with this pace.
Well, talking to Coach Keats earlier in the week, he wanted to press them in the backcourt so they couldn't get into their half-court offense. They run a Princeton-type offense, and he didn't want to give them a lot of time to run that.
Great feed. Beverly to Walker, and a dunk answer.
Just a nice bounce pass off the pick and roll from Beverly to the rolling Walker. And I tell you, Beverly, the last 2 or 3 games, has really come into a nice form.
Isaiah Hart took it in too far. Offensive foul, says Roger Ayers, as Walker draws the charge.
Again, Andrew, we were talking about that 5 position, and this is what Wyatt Walker brings to the table. He just stands in there, gives up his body. It's all the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet.
That was a tough charge. That was a high knee right to the rib cage.
Hey, those are tough to stand in and take.
After the turnover, the Greyhounds looking inside. This is Kosteka, one of his first touches in this game. Goes up strong, second effort works.
He's just a savvy player, he just knows how to play, plays at his own pace. Really hard to speed him up. And Coach Keats not real happy. He's got 5 ready to come in the game. 5 new bodies.
It was the bench that starred on Saturday against USC Upstate, a school record 62 points. Talking about a school with as much history as NC State. This is the 109th season of basketball, most bench points ever. Three-pointer way off. That'll take us to our first media timeout. We'll be back in just a moment. Oh, do they? Kevin Keats, head coach of the Wolfpack, in his 2nd season. He's got the Wolfpack ranked. Back with Chris Corciani, I'm Andrew Sanders. He's now 4-1 against top 10 opponents. It's been remarkable what he's done so far.
He's getting guys that fit in to Kevin Keats' system of running and pressing.
Bit of a slow start to this one, and that's not all that surprising, I suppose, given the Christmas break. It's that time of the year.
It's tough. You know, this is a tough time of the year for the players. You've got Christmas. You're thinking about New Year's. You just finished exams. There's a lot of distractions this time of the year. But I tell you what, they better get ready, both teams, because conference play is here, and it comes at you fast and with a lot of velocity.
This is Blake Harris of NC State. Jumper too strong, and the rebound to Kevon Scott. And both teams will play on Thursday, January 3rd, and it will be conference play. This crossover from Champion. And he's fouled by Devin Daniels.
Yeah. Looked like Devin Daniels was in good position there. He came over to help Blake Harris. He just goes up straight, make him make a tough shot there.
So Champion to the line, the junior from Philly. So Loyola team that struggled last year, but perhaps poised for a better year when they get in the conference play. They won 6 Patriot League games last year. As we get a look at their first-year head coach, Tavares Hardy.
You know, it's always tough. You know, Hardy's taking over. He's putting in a new offense. So it takes time for these players to kind of learn the system that Coach Hardy's trying to implement. They've got some good athletes. They just need to learn the system.
They bring back guys like Champion. They brought back 3 of their top 5 scorers from last year, and Champion is the top returning scorers. Jericho Helms puts his name into the scorebook.
So he's got a great mid-range game. He gets the ball in the middle and always looks to attack and score.
Kosteka with a handoff to Hart, and Funderburk said no.
That's what Funderburk's capable of. A rim protector back there. He's very quick off his feet He didn't just block that one, he really smacked it away.
Sam Norton seeing his first minutes for the Greyhounds, along with Kazmir Ochiaka, who's expected to see a bigger role again with Brent Holcomb out. Got to be a jump ball, and it is. He'll stay on this end for the Greyhounds.
Hey, that's one that Andrew Kostecka, he's going to make more than his share. He got in the lane, kind of created a little space on Blake Harris, and didn't make the shot, but that's a good look.
Into the corner, it's Hart. Fresh shot clock for the Greyhounds. And the new 5 in for NC State. Champions 3 off the mark. Helms warded off by Champion, feeds inside. And last touched by the Greyhounds as Thunderberg might have gotten poked in the eye.
Nice entry pass there. Can't quite handle it cleanly and was looking for the foul.
He will stay in the game. This is Eric Lockett, who led the Wolfpack in scoring against USC Upstate and count the basket. Kostecka wanted to travel. I don't think he was necessarily wrong there, but Lockett will take it.
Nice strong move, gets in the lane, little head fake. Kind of got it down low and was able to power it up over the top. This NC State 5 out here is really their defensive group that can get them going with a lot of energy. Sometimes they're almost too good on the defensive end and there's not enough scoring with this 5.
Norton almost threw it away. Nice catch by Champion.
This
towards
is what,
the sideline.
This is what Coach Keats wanted. It's 17 on the clock. Pressure them in the backcourt. Don't give them time to set up and run their Princeton offense.
Lockett guarding Isaiah Hart. That's a fun matchup to watch. They played high school ball together. Only 2 to shoot. Norton driving. And that's the 3rd Greyhound turnover.
You know, for the Greyhounds, they need to try to look for something a little quicker. They got a lot of backdoor cuts, but they can't wait so long to get into their offense. That's playing right into NC State's hands.
Substitution as Isaiah Hart comes out. And Kenneth Jones, the freshman from Hillside, New Jersey, checks in. He had a career high last time out in Lowell, Massachusetts against UMass Lowell. Harris with a tough drive and scores.
Wow, he just got to the lane with great quickness. Just split the defender and got to the lane so quick.
And then commits his first foul with a bump.
Look how he just slithers right there all the way to the lane. He's one of those guys that started off a little slow. The last 3-4 games, you're seeing a lot better Blake Harris out there.
Kostecka, did he keep his palm over top of the ball? Officials say yes, he did.
3 zebras out there said yes, I've got to go with them.
And then Lockett picked his pocket. He knocked over Kostecka, and a foul will be called on Eric Lockett.
This is the way NC State wants to play. They want to get after you with great effort, energy, enthusiasm, and that's not the way Loyola wants to play.
It's the 4th team foul on the Wolfpack, first on Lockett. Open 3, Kenny Jones, splash.
Good looking shot, good penetration, found the open man.
Lockett left wide open. He did not play a single minute in the Auburn game, then exploded for 15 against USC Upstate. The scoring continues here. Kostecka blocking foul on Harris. That'll be his 2nd.
I'll tell you, if anything, he's kind of moving back. Woo, if he's not I don't know about that one right there. It looked like Blake Harris was in great position. You can be moving backwards as long as you're not moving one way or the other.
So with those 2 fouls, Braxton Beverly set to check in for the Wolfpack.
Getting back to Lockett, you had mentioned he didn't play at all against Auburn. You know, he didn't mope. He didn't put his head down. He just was ready to play the next game, and boy, did he come out and have an explosive game.
Kostecka knocks in the first one. Beverly in, Isaiah Hart back in, and he'll trade places with Chuck Champion. You got to buy in to the team concept. You have to buy into the fact that there's 10 guys that play, and a lot of guys on the team will tell you there's not really any starters because they all play, between 25 and 20 minutes.
That's a credit to Coach Keats. Being able to get 10 guys that all want to play 30, 40 minutes a game. They've got 10 guys that are playing 15, 20 minutes a game, some a little bit more, and they all seem to be playing and having fun.
Traveling violation on Lockett, much to the delight of first-year head coach Tavares Hardy.
I'll tell you, it was interesting there. You saw Loyola pressure on NC State.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. What do you think?
Yeah, they're just trying to switch things up. That's the way that they want to play. Now, they don't have the depth and the players right now with this team to play that way, but when they get into league play, that's the way they'd like to play.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Devin Daniels, out of the hand of Kenneth Jones. We talk about the 10 guys for NC State. They've had different leading scorers. They've had all 10 players at one point or another this season score in double figures. 5 different leading scorers. Torin Dorn 5 times, Markel Johnson 3 times, Devin Daniels twice, Beverly and Lockett both once.
Well, they've all bought in. They all enjoy playing with one another. They share the ball there with a nice block.
And Helms with the friendly roll. NC State with a 7-point lead as Norton misfires. And there's the work on the offensive glass, Kostecka.
Kostecka's always in the right place at the right time. Again, the ball just comes off the rim right into his hands for the easy putback. Just one of those guys that just knows how to play.
NC State offense riding high. That miss by Helms ends a 5-for-5 streak, and streaking is Kostecka. Funderburg got a piece of the shot, and he will head to the line. Kostecka will, as we head to break. Back here inside the PNC Arena. Hello, everybody, with Chris Corciani. I'm Andrew Sanders. Well, so far, looking at the pace of this game, right? Anytime teams play NC State, they know that the Wolfpack want to speed them up. And I thought it was interesting because the Greyhounds coming in, they're 4-8. In their 4 wins, Chris, they've held all 4 opponents under 70 points. So you figure that they might want to play at a little slower pace. But so far, the pace has been pretty up there, and yet the Greyhounds hanging in tough.
Yeah, what they're doing a good job of controlling the ball. They're not turning it over. What NC State wants to do is they want you to turn the ball over and go down and score a layup. They want it to be a layup line, a track meet. So far, Loyola's done a really nice job of controlling the ball, getting into their offense, and really taking time. And that's not what NC State wants. NC State wants them to shoot fast so they can get down the court. And, Loyola down 4. Coach Hardy's got to be real happy at this point so far.
Andrew Kostecka, the junior from Germantown, Maryland, can't make the second free throw. He's off to a great start this season. And he comes up with a loose ball here after it ping-ponged around C.J. Bryce's hands. Out of control. Kostecka cleans it up. He's blocked. Fighting for the loose ball. And last touch by number 10.
Tell you, Wyatt Walker there with a great job of just going vertical on the block. A lot of big guys, when the guard comes in there, they swing down and create a foul. Walker does a nice job of going straight up. Interesting to see Loyola with a little 2-2-1 full court press, slowing down NC State. Now they're dropping in a 2-3 zone, which NC State hasn't seen a lot of this year.
Torin Dorn finds that soft spot but can't knock down the jumper. So Markel Johnson, starting point guard for NC State, going to have to play a lot here in the final 10 minutes and change because right before the break, that was Braxton Beverly's second foul. Remember, Blake Harris, the other guard, has picked up 2 fouls already, so it will probably be Markel Johnson's team the rest of the way.
Yeah, Markel needs to get it going. You know, Markel's one of these guys that if it's a big game, it's a Carolina, Duke, and Auburn, he's ready to play. I want to see Markel more consistent throughout the season, no matter who the opponent is.
Devin Daniels, who had a big second half against Auburn, dishes to Johnson, look inside, Dorn. Markel Johnson is developing as a scorer, but don't forget he had more than 7 assists per game last year, the most for any player in an NC State uniform since the guy sitting to my right. You had about 9.5 your senior year.
About 40 years ago. I don't know if that still counts, but yeah, Markel's just a tremendous player, can do so many things. I just think that the scoring part is what really takes NC State to the next level.
Here's the sophomore point guard, Isaiah Hart. And it poked away by Walker. Regathers. The shot doesn't drop. Just a 4-point game here. Torin Dorn, silky smooth to the cup.
I tell you, he's one of the best athletes you're going to see. Just a quick crossover, one dribble, and he gets all the way to the rim. Just an explosive athlete.
Kevon Scott going strong to the hole, and Bryce rejected it. Now out and running. It's another dunk for Dorn.
Now that's the way NC State wants to play. A block, a turnover, and get out and run with the easy buckets.
This NC State team has not been really well known for protecting the rim. They're 12th in the ACC in blocks so far this year. They've already got 4 in this one. Jones already hit 1 3, make it 2.
I tell you, Loyola's not going away. You know, they came in here with a purpose. They're playing hard. They're only down 5 and actually playing a nice first half.
And without third leading scorer Brent Holcomb. This will be a turnover on the Wolfpack. It'll be Walker's first.
You know, that foul right there goes on Wyatt Walker, but Markel Johnson needs to know that he's still moving. So the point guard, when he's making that move, he's got to make sure the big guy's set, you know, especially when he's running 35 feet from the basket.
Eight minutes to go here, first half. Walker draws another charge for the Wolfpack. NC State able to get out in transition. The blocks leading to the transition points.
Here you see C.J. Bryce coming over for the nice help. Markel to Torin Dorn for the beautiful finish.
The 9th-ranked Wolfpack women return to Reynolds Coliseum Sunday afternoon for their final non-conference challenge of the season in the Davidson Wildcats. Catch all the action from Raleigh right here on the ACC Network Extra starting at 2 p.m. Back here in Raleigh, I'm Andrew Sanders, Chris Corciani. Got the band going. Final 2018 game for both of these programs, final non-conference game for both of these programs before Loyola Maryland dives into the Patriot League and NC State opens up ACC play. They'll do it on the road in Coral Gables, Florida, against the Miami Hurricanes. Rack up another assist for Markel Johnson as Walker uses the window.
It was a good look. Markel was able to get deep on his penetration, gave a nice head fake, and found Wyatt Walker. And so I tell you, Wyatt Walker, he's one of these guys, he just grows on you inside. Again, he doesn't play above the rim, but he just knows how to play and scores often inside.
Jones and Hart both seeing the floor at the same time. Champion from the elbow, count it.
I tell you, Champion did a great job that possession, moving without the ball. He faked like he was coming to get it, went back door, and then kind of came up short, didn't go too far on the drive and hit the short jumper.
Oh, great hands by Jones, who reached in. Got a very bright future, just a freshman. See how he does in Patriot League play this year. Feed inside, Hart for the layup as Kazmir Ochiaka puts it off glass. It's just a 3-point game.
Coach Hardy's got to be real thrilled being down 3 with 6 minutes to go, and just the way they're playing with great confidence.
And right now the Greyhounds doing a great job on the glass, keeping NC State to 1 and done. Also doing it on the offensive glass. They've got 6 offensive rebounds, Chris.
No, they're doing it a lot of different ways, playing smart. There you see CJ Bryce with a nice block, pushing it up the floor.
And they'll call Hart for a touch foul. 5 blocks now for the Wolfpack. NC State's got a size advantage in this one, and CJ Bryce is using his. Inside out basketball for the Wolfpack. 12 on the shot clock. And last touch by Wyatt Walker. It's not a shot that Markel Johnson misses very often. He shoots 60% this year from the floor.
He's off to a great start. He's one of the premier point guards in the ACC. And I tell you, the bigger the game, the better Markel Johnson is.
Blake Harris going to come back in with those 2 fouls, so keep an eye on that. You say Coach Hardy's got to feel great. I think absolutely so, because NC State, they've led at halftime every game this year, and most of their games in the non-conference against non-Power 5 schools, they've been flat-out blowouts.
Yeah, there's no question. It's because they turned the ball over in the backcourt. Loyola's doing a real nice job. Even when they turn it over like that, Andrew, it's not leading out to NC State.
Sure.
Easy buckets at the other end.
Yeah, Kosteka really just lost his footing. That's the 6th Greyhound turnover. So just a 3-point game, and NC State, one of the best shooting teams in the country. Bryce shows it off there. Kosteka trying to move quickly. Walker got a piece. Kevin Keats pleading with Roger Ayers. Maybe to get together with his partners. Let's see.
See that a lot of times when the guy almost gets fouled and then the ball goes out of bounds. It's almost like, all right, I didn't call the foul, but I'm going to give you the ball out of bounds.
Helms hounding. The feed to Scott. Both tries won't go.
We had 2 point-blank looks at the bucket, but couldn't convert.
And Kevon Scott will pick up the foul, the junior from Irvine, California. 2nd on the Orange Lutheran product. As Wyatt Walker gets a hand. He heads to the bench. Funderburk back in for the Wolfpack. That's NC State's first offensive rebound. It was a huge one.
Yeah, well, I tell you, CJ Bryce very active on the offensive end tonight. And like I said, sometimes there can be distractions. Christmas, New Year's right around the corner, but CJ Bryce has come to play tonight.
NC State shooting 61% from the floor here in the first half as Champion puts up a beautiful reverse.
I thought he ran out of real estate there, Andrew, and he kept on in the air with a great finish.
Harrison Funderburk can't convert. That was harder to say than I was expecting. They can't convert on the pick and roll.
I'll tell you, the pace of this game, it's not necessarily the score. It's a 6-point game. Loyola's got to be really happy with that. But it's the pace. They're running their offense. They're doing the things that they want to do.
Giacca bowling his way, kick out for three, line drive shot no good. Thunderbird cleans it up, they want to run, but the pass is intercepted by Kenny Jones. And an offensive foul. So it'll be a foul here on Loyola, but Chuck Champion going to work. His Greyhounds are within 6. The defense for NC State has led to a 6-point lead. Chris, they've got 7 blocks so far tonight.
Coming from a number of different players, but they're just active. You know, they're really getting after it. A block is like a steal, and Coach Kevin Keats likes that.
And just like right before this past media timeout, they've drawn a few charges here tonight, so the defense is showing up and holding a Loyola team that's shooting 52% over their last 4 games, holding them to about 35% right now.
You love guys that are willing to stand in there and give up their body for the team. And I tell you, you see it a lot more with teams that play 10. If you're playing 5 or 6 guys, you got guys that aren't willing to stand in there because they don't want to get in foul trouble. But here you got guys that want minutes, and they're doing whatever they can to stay on that floor.
Thunderbird can hit that shot all day.
And Thunderbird makes it nice and easy. He's just so smooth and silky. I tell you, it reminds me a little bit, just a little bit of Kevin Durant, just the way he plays and moves. And he's going to get better and better every game he plays, and as he becomes a little stronger, he's going to be a special player.
Yeah, I know that he is older on the birth certificate than a typical freshman, and he's got a little more experience, but can't lose sight of the fact as Torin Dorn stepped on the baseline. You can't lose sight of, he redshirted at Ohio State a couple years ago, transferred to Northwest Florida State. So he's played JUCO ball, big-time junior college recruit. But this is his first year in Division I. This is his first year in the ACC. This is just his 13th game with the Wolfpack, and I think you're absolutely right. He's still learning everything and still blossoming into the player that he will eventually be.
Yeah, these kids nowadays, they play so many games in the AAU, but, when you get to a program like NC State, the lights are on, it's bright, it's a little different. And he's matured a lot just in the first 12 games, and he's only getting better and better.
Helms boards his own miss, and that'll be the 3rd foul on Blake Harris.
I think it's a good call. The NC State fans don't like it, but Blake kind of banged them, both going after it, but Blake did clip them there. I don't usually agree with a lot of referees, Andrew, but I thought they got that one right.
No, some of your best friends are referees.
Absolutely. I'll leave it at that.
So this will be a 1-and-1 as that's the 8th team foul. And Kosteka is an excellent free throw shooter at 85%. Harris again with 3 fouls to the bench.
I tell you, these are big points to get to kind of keep the lead at 7. They can cut this lead to 6. And I'm sure Coach Hardy at that 4-minute timeout said, listen, guys, we've played extremely well. Let's finish the half and keep the game close so that we have a chance in the second half.
Well, with the versatility of this NC State team and the positionless basketball that Kevin Keats likes to play, they've seen a lot of different lineups. I don't know if they've necessarily seen this lineup very often with no Markel Johnson, no Braxton Beverly, and no Blake Harris on the floor. It doesn't matter that possession.
There hasn't been many minutes all year that Braxton and Markel Johnson, one of the two, hasn't been on the court. But, it's an opportunity for other guys to do some things. And, a lot of times you want to see what things look like without the stars out there.
A chance for maybe C.J. Bryce, Devin Daniels, Torin Dorn to be primary ball handlers. The fans loving the effort there from Devin Daniels.
Here's the other thing. There's only 15 seconds. That doesn't reset, so they've got 15 seconds to get the ball up into the front court and get a shot off.
Fives looking for an outlet, and he finally finds it in Champion. There's only 10 to shoot as they break midcourt. Well, that's tough work from Chuck Champion.
They didn't take long to get the ball up into the front court, spin, and knock down the shot. Champion's having a nice first half.
He still had enough lift in those legs after facing the press all the way up the court. 7-point Wolfpack lead. Kostecka guarding Dorn. Dorn losing the handles. Champion scoops it up. Attacking the rim. Oh, instead he'll kick it out. He faked me out. Kostecka, 3-ball. And a strong board from Dorn. State wants to run. It's Helms and one.
I tell you, it's real impressive when you've got Torn Dorn coming down with the defensive rebound and then leading the break, finding the streaking Helms. Just a nice bounce pass to the freshman Helms for the finish.
Kenneth Jones with the foul, his first. And the pride of Chaminade High School in St. Louis rattles home the free throw. CJ Bryce out. Eric Lockett back in. Kostecka, that ball wasn't poked away, he just lost it, and now here comes the lob. An unforced error leads to another NC State run out, and it's a 12-point lead.
It's unfortunate for Loyola. They played such a great 18 minutes, and here in the last 2 minutes, the wheels have come off a little bit.
Largest lead for the Wolfpack tonight, and now Daniels with the steal.
This just tells you what NC State's capable of. The last 3 defensive possessions, they've come up with steals and easy runouts. Here you see Devin Daniels just with the steal and the strong finish and one.
It's the kind of basketball that Kevin Keats and NC State want to play. They're going to turn you over and then turn those turnovers into easy points. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Just unfortunate for the Greyhounds because they've been playing so well, and yet now the lead has ballooned to its largest. It's 14 points, and I know they're the Greyhounds, but they don't want to get into this track meet with NC State.
Yeah, the Greyhounds do not want to run with this pack, but they've played a great 18 minutes, took control of the ball for the most part, ran their offense, but this is what NC State does. It's, they hit you all at once. You can kind of keep them in check for a while, and then boom, 3 straight possessions on the defensive end that led to easy buckets on the offensive end.
Last 39 seconds for the Wolfpack. It's a 7-0 run, and Daniels going to the line to try and make that an 8-0 run.
It's got to be frustrating to Coach Hardy. He was at the 4-minute mark, down 7, in pretty good position. Could go to the locker room with a lot of confidence, especially with this young team. It's a big difference when you're down 6 or 7 at half or you're down 15 or 16.
This run has come with the sophomore starting point guard Isaiah Hart on the bench with 2 fouls. Kenneth Jones and Chuck Champion mostly handling the ball handling duties. And NC State can hold for the last possession after Sam Norton's shot clangs off the rim. Timeout on the floor. NC State want to draw up one final play here in this first half. And who knows, if it goes well for the Wolfpack, they could end up being up as many as 18. Again, this is the final non-conference game of the season for both teams. NC State will head down to sunny South Florida. That's Chris Corciani's backyard at 7 o'clock on Thursday, January 3rd, taking on a Miami team that struggled a bit this year.
They are struggling early on, but you get to conference play and you play on the road, anything can happen. And you better believe Miami will be excited to take on the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack now is not flying under the radar anymore. When you're in the top 20, people know about you. You're not going to sneak up on teams, and it's always tough playing on the road in the ICC. Just
a different level. Just just a different intensity once you get into ACC play. But Kevin Keats, with his backloaded non-conference schedule, playing towards the end of non-conference play and beating Vanderbilt, Penn State, and Auburn, feeling like they're going to be ready for the challenge.
Here's where you want to make sure you get the last shot. You want to try to start your drive here 6 or 7 seconds and not give Loyola a shot.
Dorn, tough shot, and it won't go, but that's about the only thing that didn't go for the Wolfpack down the stretch. They end the half on an 8-0 run, their largest lead of the game at 45-30. And so as well as the Greyhounds played, Chris, NC State able to create a little cushion.
They did. They poured it on there in the last 2 minutes, but it's unfortunate for the Greyhounds because they actually played a very good first half, or at least 18 minutes.
Don't go anywhere. Chris and I will be back for the halftime show in just a couple of minutes here on the ACC Network Extra. NC State up 15 at the break. Halftime here inside PNC Arena. Our score at the break, NC State 45 and Loyola Maryland 30. We welcome you back courtside, everybody. He's Chris Corciani, and I'm Andrew Sanders. We're so glad you could join us here tonight. Chris, that was a very competitive first half, and all of a sudden NC State stepped on the gas. That's kind of been their trademark under Kevin Keats. It just takes one, maybe 2-minute run, and all of a sudden they're landing knockout blows. That's
the way NC State wants to play. Kevin Keats wants pressure. He wants it to be a track meet. For 18 minutes of the first half, it didn't really work out, but then boom, 2 minutes late in the first half, that's the way Kevin Keats wants this team to explode.
So the Greyhounds hoping that they can turn things around here in the second half. We said they needed a good game from Andrew Kostecka, the leading scorer in the Patriot League. He had a great first half. He had 10 points, and he was all over the place.
He does a little bit of everything, as you saw in the first half. He's a scrapper. He's just a basketball player, and coaches want players like Constanza. He just knows how to play the game.
And then NC State's C.J. Bryce, 9 points, added an assist. He had a couple of blocks and just looked very comfortable in his first half action.
He brought a lot of energy to the team. I thought that C.J. Bryce and Jericho Helms really had nice first halves for the Wolfpack.
Now look at the stats. Again, NC State is one of the best shooting teams in the country, and that continues in the first half of this one. The Wolfpack shooting 63% and ended up, the Greyhounds were out rebounding them midway through the first half, ended up cleaning up the boards and getting back to more of what you would expect of a team that's one of the best rebounding teams in the country to this point.
There's no question. The one stat that really jumps out at me is the turnovers. NC State turned it over 10 times and only turned over the Greyhounds 9. Look in the second half for that number to change if NC State's going to continue to play the way they want to play.
All right, we'll step aside once again. A lot more coming up here at halftime in Raleigh. NC State leads it 45-30. Got some basketball being played here at halftime at PNC Arena. Our score, NC State 45, Loyola Maryland 30. Andrew Sanders and Chris Corciani welcoming you back here. Now look at the ACC standings so far, best conference in America for college basketball, and especially at the top, a ton of competition there. There's quite a few candidates that could win the ACC, although I think most people will think it'll be Virginia and Duke race.
Well, I'll tell you, it's loaded at the top. You got Virginia. They're so fundamentally sound, well coached by Coach Bennett. They just do everything the right way offensively and defensively. And then you have Duke, led by the freshman, but it's the one freshman, Tyus Jones, that really keeps the three stars together. He's been kind of an unsung hero. Florida State, with Kofor coming back, is going to really give them a needed, energized, to start the ACC season. Then you've got NC State sneaking in there too, Andrew, and they definitely deserve to be in there, but they're going to have their work cut out for them against these tough opponents.
ACC is going to be a ton of fun this year, that is for sure. We welcome you back, everybody. Chris, Andrew. So, legit contenders. How many do you think that could win the ACC this year? You get 4 teams, 5 teams, 6 teams? What do you got?
There's probably 6 or 7 teams, and we mentioned 4 of them. We left out Carolina. Carolina's a very strong offensive team, can score with anyone. They need to clean it up on the half-court defensive end in order to propel them to the top.
You know, Virginia Tech also ranked really high, but we don't have them in this list, even though, who knows, they could win it as well. The Duke freshmen, they get so much attention. But of course, I'm expecting you to focus on the point guard. You don't let me down.
Well, the point guard is the one who keeps everybody under control, and they've got Zion and Reddish and Barrett. But as Coach K has alluded to in some of his recent remarks, it's Jones keeping those three in check and putting the ball in the right guy's hands.
You know, Florida State is always one of the tallest teams in the league, always one of the most athletic. They're skilled this year as well. As you mentioned earlier, they got Phil Kofer back. They're really making a push on a year. They were down in football. Who knows? They might be ACC champions in basketball.
I tell you, Leonard Hamilton, you know exactly what you're going to get every year with his teams. They play hard, they play tough, they have size, and bringing back Phil Kofer is really going to give them a boost.
And for NC State, they're fifth in the NCAA so far this year. They're shooting better than 51% from the floor as a team. Is that sustainable? Because if it is, they're going to have a chance for sure.
Well, and they're also shooting 41% from three-point range. Is that sustainable? I'm not so sure. I think that they've played extremely well with the teams they've played against up until this point. Hopefully that will continue for NC State, but they certainly have played better than most expected.
All right, we've got to take one final break. Don't go anywhere. When we come up on the other side, Chris is going to give you some New Year's resolutions. Looking forward to that one coming up in just a minute. We'll pack up 15 at half. ESPN and the ACC bring you the ACC Network Extra coming August 2019. 15 universities, all on one network. Visit ACCN.com to learn more. My name is Andrew Sanders, here with Chris Corciani. We're very excited for the ACC Network. You're watching this one on the ACC Network Extra. What a first half it was. NC State and Loyola, Maryland, very close until the Wolfpack ended on an 8-0 run to end the half. Time for your New Year's resolutions, Chris, for NC State.
Well, Markel Johnson, well, he's a great player, but he's got to quit being Santa Claus and passing the ball and dishing it off and being so nice. He needs to look to score for NC State to be elite. Wyatt Walker and DJ Funderburk, great first part of the season. They did it rebounding. They did it playing very unselfish. All the little things, they need to continue that with the New Year's right upon us. And also the third thing, and very important, is the whole team needs to continue playing with energy and having fun. It's the Kevin Keats way of basketball, is to get up and down, share the ball with one another, and have fun. And that's a good recipe for moving forward in the new year.
And to this point, this team seems completely bought in to that style of play that Coach Keats wants to play. And you know, a lot was made of they have 3 returners, they have 10 newcomers, but Coach Keats is used to that. He's used to having some roster turnover when he was, you know, one of the best coaches in the country at Hargrave, right?
Well, it's the way the game has changed. You know, over the years, it used to be that guys came in, they played 4 years. Now that's changed. And then you can look around at any other team, all conferences throughout the country. You don't see guys that stay there 4 years. If they're not playing, they transfer. If they're that good, they leave after a year or two. The whole recruiting game has changed at the top level of NCAA basketball.
Greyhounds start off with the basketball, and they will be happy to have sophomore guard Isaiah Hart back on the court. He picked up 2 fouls in the first half, and he was on the bench during that run to close things out.
Loyola just needs to get back to what they did early in the first half. That was running their offense and taking care of the basketball. They got away from that late in the first half.
Like Kavon Scott is physical, but Wyatt Walker, no small man. He would not be pushed there.
No, that was a good, strong move, but Walker didn't flinch.
Braxton Beverly's got a quick trigger from way outside. He was struggling there with his shot a couple of weeks ago. He shaved that long beard he had. Now his shot is back. The beard is starting to come back a little bit.
He really had his breakout game in Atlantic City against Penn State. He was 7 for 10, just had a tremendous shooting game, but also a floor game as well. But he's one of those guys that you don't worry about. You know he's going to be there. He just got off to a slow start.
Great pass, Johnson to Dorn.
This is the exact start that Kevin Keats wanted to get out. A little bit of excitement, a slam dunk by Torin Dorn.
The run continues for the Wolfpack. The halftime break not cooling them off. Pretty move by Champion on a nice cut to get all the way to the rim.
Loyola in a very soft 1-2-2, just trying to slow down NC State.
Johnson with the hesitation. He never seems to be in a rush, always plays at his pace. Walker shows the ball. Move didn't come off. The ball will stay on this end with 9 to shoot.
Made a good move. He just got blocked by the backboard.
Hate it when that happens.
Here you see Johnson with the no-look pass to Torin Dorn. They've got a good feel for one another, Torin Dorn and Markel Johnson. They just know where one another is going to be.
Dorn shoots over Jalen Andrews, who's new into the ball game, and a recycle from Walker.
See, there you see Walker, nothing special.
Sure.
Gets the offensive rebound, doesn't try to force it, just kicks it back out.
That's a shot that Markel Johnson will make almost all of the time. Dorn with the rebound and push. Bryce now with 11 points for NC State.
Again, Torin Dorn with a nice kick-ahead pass to C.J. Bryce. That's what C.J. Bryce does well. He can score in transition in so many different ways.
And the Dorn pressure maybe forcing the turnover as it goes off Kostecka's hands.
The kick ahead, the Euro step, and the finish by C.J. Bryce.
So he took a knock in that first half. He's got the Band-Aid under the eye. That turnover for the Greyhounds now. 3 in the second half alone, and a turnover for NC State the other way. They're going to get Funderburk. Roger Ayers saying, hey, there is no one on the floor. Who was the foul on? And it does go against Funderburk. I'm glad that Mr. Ayers helped clear that up because I was confused.
There was no one for sure. Huh. So that was on Funderburk, huh?
Kostecka hits the 3. You know, I talked to some people around the Greyhounds, and they said, you know, the biggest reason why he's picked up his scoring here later in the season is he's been able to knock down the three-point shot. He started the year 0 of 10 from 3. Since then, he's been a 50% three-point shooter. That's opened up driving lanes for him as well.
I tell you, sometimes it's just having a little bit of confidence. You know, some shooters, they miss and they still think. I played with a guy named Rodney Monroe, and he could miss shot after shot, but he never lost his confidence, always wanted the ball. And that's what Costanza, he needs to be able to see a big rim and shoot the ball because they need him in order to compete.
Beverly hangs his head after he throws the pass behind on the break.
I tell you, NC State a little sloppy. You know, they had the 10 turnovers in the first half. I'm sure Coach Keats wasn't pleased with that. And there you see another miscue.
Going to look at the turnovers, 12 for both teams. So we near the first media timeout here of the second half.
Oh.
Kostecka looked a little off balance, a little herky-jerky. It doesn't matter. He'll score.
What a great shot. He didn't even think he was going to be able to get that one off, let alone bank it in. Again, he can score in so many different ways. Very crafty ball player.
And he's got 15 points now, leading all scorers. Another turnover for the Wolfpack after that great start. Things starting to get a little sloppy on the offensive end. Loyola Maryland trying to chip into this lead. That's a beautiful pass inside by Hart. But the Greyhounds give the ball right back. Andrew Kostecka leading the way for the Greyhounds. 15 tough points in this one. Sunday, January 6th at 6 o'clock. College wrestling takes center stage as second-ranked Ohio State hosts seventh-ranked NC State in a battle of top 10 teams. It's the Buckeyes and the Wolfpack on ESPN2 and the Watch ESPN app. Two of the top 4 teams from last year going at it. Right out of the timeout, Andrew Kostecka make it 17 points for the junior.
Hey, they just ran a nice screen to screener. All teams run that. Very few execute it the way they just did and got a nice easy look for a bucket.
Dorn had it knocked away. Beverly scoops it up, 10 to shoot. Going around Ochiaka. Dorn driving on Andrews. Pull up, tough shot. Funderburk lost the handle, and Lockett recovers and scores. Well, when Coach Keats was asked about why he didn't play against Auburn, he said, you know, we just got caught up in our rotations. You know, it just didn't work out this game, but he will definitely play and be a huge factor for us this season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, he's played extremely well. A lot of times you get into ACC play, you end up shortening up your lineup a little bit. They get Braxton with a great hustle play. I guess they had his foot on the line, but just a nice hustle play by Braxton.
Ten to shoot. Funderburk out for the denial. He got his hand on the ball. They say he got his body on Kavon Scott. That's the second foul on Funderburk.
You want to play good, strong, fundamental defense with a lot of pressure, but early in the season they were committing some silly fouls, especially when the team was in the bonus. You just have to be a smarter defender, especially when you're in the bonus.
Kostecka posting up on Eric Lockett. Lost it between his legs, regathers, off balance. He's got everything dropping tonight.
I tell you, his last 2 buckets that he's made have been very tough shots. It's the kind of shots that you would take in a horse game.
You know, he's set his career high for points 3 times in the last 5 games this season. He had 30 and said, you know what, against Drexel, I'm going to go for 31.
Just plays at his own pace. Boy, what a nice drive and finish with the left hand by Champion.
Loyola, Maryland showing you why they might be trouble in the Patriot League this year, because if you have one scorer, okay. You have the leading scorer in the league, you're going to probably be all right. That's what Kostecka's been so far. But when you have a second scorer as well, as Beverly hits it, you've got a Chuck Champion type guy that can give you, 12 to 15 points a game. That's when you can really be troublesome.
Yeah, no, they're going to be just fine in the Patriot League. They played well. It's just that last part of the first half. They just need to take care of the basketball.
Oh, Funderburk jumped the pass a little too much. He overran it. Kostecka, that went halfway down and back out. And the Pack will push it. Little Euro step from Daniels. And then the ball is thrown away by Jalen Andrews.
Tell you, guys like Daniels and C.J. Bryce, they're so good in the open court. Here you see Daniels go the Euro step off the wrong leg in the finish.
Lockett all the way to the rim and wave off the basket. They're going to get Kostecka with the foul. It'll be on the floor. 2 fouls on the Patriot League leading scorer. Just a hair under 20 points per game. And by the end of this one, his season average will likely be above 20.
Tell you, also all conference defensive players. So this is a two-way player that does it all.
All Isaiah Hart can do is hang his head because Braxton Beverly, you have to close out on him. Hart was just doing his job, and Beverly hit him with the pump fake.
Yeah, just a nice pump fake, and Braxton doesn't need a lot of room. Boom, jumper. I'll tell you what, he's really playing well the last few games, he struggled early, but in talking to Coach Keats, he said, I'm not worried about Braxton Beverly.
His teammates, obviously his coach, but also his teammates have the utmost confidence in him. They say, when he's feeling it, he's the best shooter in the country. That's how they feel.
He certainly can fill it up.
Hart with a nice spin move and a strong take. He will go to the free throw line. It'll be interesting to see how he does in Patriot League play this year as Walker picks up his second foul, because he started 27 games last year as a true freshman. He's been through the battles in the Patriot League. Got off to somewhat of a slow start here in his sophomore season, 3 points a game his first 5 games. Since then, he's averaging 9 points a game.
Well, I tell you, there's a big difference between playing your freshman year to your sophomore year. I don't care how decorated a player you are. You come in there and the lights are bright. Everything's a little bit faster. And Hart had a good freshman year. I'm sure he'll make the transition into the sophomore year and have a great Patriot League.
I told you earlier on the broadcast he played high school ball with NC State's Eric Lockett. They're both from the state of Georgia. They played at Whitefield Academy. There's a traveling violation. They'll go against Helms and the Wolfpack. Whitefield Academy, they were state runners-up Lockett's final year there. Whitefield Academy, their nickname, the Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack. Wow, Lockett was destined to be at NC State. I tell you, those two guys on the same team, that must have been a nice duo for sure.
You got a couple D1 players, you're going to be just fine. 3-on-2, Helms. Now he's disappointed with himself, but that's been the story for NC State today. When they force those turnovers, they've gotten out and run. It's led to an 18-point lead. The Greyhounds' Andrew Kostecka has racked up 19 points, 7 rebounds, a couple of assists as well in 26 minutes of action. And I think you summed it up well, Chris, earlier. You said he's just an all-around ball player.
He does it so many different ways. He can shoot it. He goes to the offensive glass. He gets out on the break. He's just one of those guys that you love having on your team. 19 points, 7 of 14, 7 rebounds. And again, all conference, first team, all defensive player. Tell you, this is a freshman I really like, Jericho Helms. He kind of comes in, doesn't play like a freshman. He comes in with the minutes that he's been given and has really taken full advantage of the opportunity. Love his mid-range game and just does a little bit of everything. One of the type of players Kevin Keats really likes to recruit is just like Jericho Helms.
He's the Wolfpack's leading scorer right now with 12 points. Andrew spots up in the corner, won't fall. There's Helms. You look at him with his size and his skill set, he's got a very good opportunity to play at the next level.
Oh yeah, he's a strong kid. He's one of those guys you talk about all the players that Keats has here, but they're all interchangeable. Helms and Bryce, Daniels, Lockett, they're all capable of rebounding, pushing it up the floor, scoring, going to the offensive glass. And I guess the one thing they all do is they all play extremely hard, because if they don't, they're going to be sitting next to the coach over there.
The best motivation there is, right?
No doubt.
By the way, that was just the first foul on Helms and the 4th team foul here in the second half. Kostecka really just swarmed by 3 Wolfpack jerseys. And a great bounce pass from Helms to Daniels.
Wow. That is not an easy pass to make, especially beyond half court. Threaded the needle to the streaking Daniels.
All right, if you say it's not an easy pass, I believe you.
I'm going to tell you, there was very little margin of error for that pass.
Now Helms, picks up the loose ball. Another feed inside. Says Wyatt Walker, you better finish that one too. I need that assist.
I tell you, Helms is having a heck of a game. He's taken over here on both the defensive and offensive end.
NC State now with 13 assists on 29 made baskets. And we will have a timeout on the floor. It's a media timeout. Wolfpack up 22. Jericho Helms and the Wolfpack feeling good. Final game of 2018. NC State up 22. You're going to look at Jericho Helms. Let Chris Corciani dissect the bounce pass.
That is what you call threading the needle. There's very little room for error there, and he just does that. Catches them right on stride for the easy lay. And again, we talked about Helms. He's doing it on the defensive end. He's doing it scoring. He's doing it threading the needle. He's just having an outstanding game.
And that's why this team is ranked number 20 in the country right now. Doesn't matter the night. They are confident that it's the scoring or the clutch plays, what have you. The winning plays, they're going to come from somewhere. Braxton Beverly hits again. They know they've got 10 guys. They can all deliver. And so you can't just key on one or two guys as Kostecka knocks down the three. But it's just such a well-balanced attack for the Wolfpack. They know there's going to be 2 or 3 guys each night that are going to step up.
Right, and they seem to be really having fun and enjoying playing together. The funny thing is, probably the best player on their team, Markel Johnson, has yet to score tonight, which is a certain surprise.
Yeah, he hasn't played a whole lot tonight. Johnson with just 14 minutes. But, you know, again, buying into the concept of team we were talking about earlier with Eric Lockett not playing against Auburn, didn't hang his head at all. And you see Markel Johnson, he was over there smiling on the bench, having a good time with his teammates.
Tell you,
there's a lot of minutes to go around on this team.
No, there certainly is. But I'll tell you the thing that cures a lot of things, and that's winning. And when you're 11-1 and you're in the top 20 for the first time in 2 years, you know what? It cures things. You know, all of a sudden you start losing a few games, things change. But Coach Kevin Keats has done a great job of building this team. They keep getting better and better, and they're having fun doing it together.
This Wolfpack team has started off the season winning more than any other NC State team since the 2005-2006 team started 12-1 that year.
And I tell you, just going around town and talking to people, I think that the thing that a lot of NC State Wolfpack fans really like about this team is the effort and the way they play. We haven't seen this kind of defensive effort from NC State teams in many years, and that's really what NC State fans love so far about this team.
Kostecka to the free throw line. An 85% shooter. That one does not fall. He's sitting on 22 points tonight. So he's got almost half of the Greyhounds' output. Champion going to pick up Beverly full court. Around the Walker string goes Daniels. Feed inside. Perfect pass.
I'll tell you, a great pass by Daniels. I'll tell you, Wyatt Walker's got good hands. He catches a lot of balls that, you know, aren't always easy. A big guy with good hands is really a luxury for a point guard.
Backdoor cut, and then Champion had it knocked away. Bryce on the break. Finds his teammate Daniels. And a Walker reach in. 4 fouls on Wyatt Walker. Maybe not the best 4th foul he's ever picked up. It's the 16th foul, so the next one will put the Greyhounds to the line.
A little surprised. I thought with him picking up that 4th foul, Thunderbrook would have jumped right in there. But, you know, with a 25-point lead, I guess that's not a big concern.
It's not something you can really practice very often, right? Playing with 4 fouls in live action.
Well, it's not fun because you can't do what you want to do. You have to be very disciplined and smart, and it kind of takes away a little bit of that aggressiveness that you're used to playing with.
Champion with good defense. The anticipation Here comes Kostecka. He'll two-hand rim rocket.
Wow, that's a big-time move on the break.
And then I think he caught a cramp in his calf after he exploded up off the floor.
I'll tell you what, he certainly did explode to that rim.
25 points for Andrew Kostecka, and you hope he's all right. Just a cramp. Big-time dunk. The 9th-ranked Wolfpack women return to Reynolds Coliseum on Sunday afternoon. Their final non-conference challenge of the season. The Davidson Wildcats catch all the action from Raleigh right here on the ACC Network Extra, starting at 2 o'clock. Wes Moore and the Wolfpack women undefeated this year. Hey, there's your buddy, Chucky Brown.
Chucky Brown, one of the best NC State players of all time. I'll tell you, he was a great player, but he was a tremendous teammate. I had the opportunity to play 2 years with Chuck-a-Luck, and just a great guy. And, you know, there's great players, there's great teammates, and then there's the combination, and that's what Chucky Brown was.
We got to work on that hat, but other than that, good dude. Beverly's left open. Hart. Well, he just kept going with it, kept persevering, and eventually lost the handle. Now it's 5-on-4 if the Wolfpack want to hurry. Spot up jumper from Torin Dorn. He doesn't need the trajectory on it. He just keeps hitting line drives.
I tell you, you would watch that in warm-ups. You'd say, gosh, how's he making so many just with a line drive? But he's shooting at a high clip. I mean, this NC State team is shooting over 41% for the year, and they're over 50% tonight beyond the yard arc.
Andrews just absolutely stuffed by Walker. And then the one-man fast break of Torin Dorn, he's fouled. You know, we were talking about at the break, NC State just shooting at such a high level as we get a look at the defense again. That was downright disrespectful.
Yeah, you know, Wyatt Walker again, right place, right time, comes over to help his man and make the block and start the fast break.
But offensively, the Wolfpack shooting 63%.
That is a good number that hopefully NC State fans will see more of that with conference play. Now, granted, that number is extremely high, and a lot of that has to do with 17 Loyola turnovers that have led to NC State easy buckets, but that's the style that NC State and Coach Keats wants to play.
I think at the start of the year, a lot of people expected, you know, hey, if things are going well, they're going to get those types of shots, so they're probably going to shoot a fairly high percentage. But, yeah, that behind-the-arc shooting has been the biggest surprise.
You know, to me, when I looked at this team before the year, my big concern, I actually had two concerns, and one was, are we going to be a good enough three-point shooting team to compete at the upper echelon? The other thing was, are we going to have big guys inside to be able to compete against the other bigs in the conference? And I'll tell you, both those things, shooting 41% from threes in the combination between Walker and Funderburk, have really has me impressed so far.
You know, and in those two categories, it hasn't just been okay, average, even slightly above average. The Wolfpack are 8th in the country in three-point shooting percentage entering today. And rebounding, 11th in the country in rebounding margin. We're talking they've been elite in those two categories.
You know, with 41%, they're shooting over 50%. That number is only going to go up. I'm not real good at math, but I do think that number will go up.
Bryce getting slapped at. He'll back it out calmly. Oh, Hellam's a finger roll.
Reminded me a little bit of George Gervin. That may be a few years before your time, Andrew.
It was an old school move. It was.
George Iceman Gervin.
Champion gets Funderburk up in the air, and then someone got a piece. Was it Bryce or was it Funderburk? Oh, showtime for Bryce. And this has been the issue for Loyola Maryland the last couple of games. They've given up 94 or more in 3 out of their last 4. And you're seeing NC State's ability now to just continue to get to the rim.
Well, you know, that's a luxury of playing all these guys. The second half, they almost wear you down. They keep coming at you. It's like coming at you in waves, and there's no letdown. And Loyola doesn't have the bodies to keep throwing out there like NC State does.
Especially with Brent Holcomb out today, but Andrew Kostecka has tried to pick up the slack. Now the fans are going to get loud here because there's a promotion if he misses both free throws, but they read the scouting report. Say, hey, he's an 85% shooter. Probably not likely to get the chicken sandwich promotion here. Hart gambled on the steal. Bryce able to turn the corner into the lane. Good defense from Andrews. And the size just isn't there for the Greyhounds to contend with Funderburk at 6'10". Hart, get out of town. Funderburk comes in. And it's a layup line the other way.
I tell you, Funderburk gets off his feet so quick. You know, you can be this kind of different type of shot blockers. One guy's just big and he's by the ball, but then you got guys like this that are just quick off your feet. I mean, Funderburk's a big guy, but just a great athlete, quick jumper.
That's now 11 blocks for the Wolfpack.
Tell you, between the 11 blocks and the 18 turnovers they've created, you know, that's a good opportunity to get out, get in the open floor, and score easy buckets. And there you see another turnover by Loyola.
Isaiah Hart trying to plead his case, saying he didn't touch it last, but the officials say otherwise. He comes out. Kenny Jones in. Helms got knocked over, and the Pack just cleaning up the boards. DJ Funderburk, he's one of the fan favorites here for play like that.
Just great second effort going to the offensive glass. Funderburk with the deuce.
Luke Johnson seeing his first minutes tonight. Gives off to Kostecka, takes it in amongst the trees, and it is a 5-on-2. There's the unselfish play, leads to a Dorn lay-in.
You know, you had 2 or 3 guys there that could have shot and scored, but that's the beauty of this NC State team. They share the ball, they enjoy playing with one another, and you know, they're just having fun out there.
Blown this wide open. Andrews, couple of pump fakes, and he's fouled. He'll head to the free throw line when we come back from Raleigh. NC State off and running. They have taken complete control of this one heading into the final media break. Well, all 10 players for NC State have scored in double figures in at least one game this season. They've been led in scoring by 5 different players to this point. And the Wolfpack continuing to have balanced scoring here tonight against the Loyola Maryland Greyhounds. We got 4 in double figures. Everyone has scored except Markel Johnson.
Tell you what, you know, Markel, you know he's going to be there where the big games is, but they've got, tonight NC State's got 7 guys with 8 points or more. And again, that's just sharing the ball, being unselfish, and everybody giving each other an opportunity.
A missed free throw by Jalen Andrews, who's just a 61% shooter. And the students, this is the loudest they've been all night. For the love of chicken.
I'll tell you what a great marketing deal that NC State's come up with. It's kept everybody in their seats for the whole game.
Jalen Andrews is, I'm sure, at a loss. Saying, why is this the most intense moment of the game when I'm shooting my second free throw?
That's right, we're down a bunch.
NC State hits 95 points on a pretty finger roll by Jericho Helms. I mean, make sure you got to go get it tomorrow, partner. They're not open on Sunday.
Oh, that's true. That's right. That's a good point. I don't have a ticket. That's my problem.
12 blocks for the Wolfpack. These guys are having fun out here. Long rebound to Champion. He's going to look to push one-on-one against Bryce. Johnson got a hand on the rebound for the Greyhounds, and last touch by Funderburg.
Tell you, Bryce did a real nice job when the guy's coming at you full speed. He kind of backtracked, retreated a little bit, and played good, sound defense.
Timeout, Coach Hardy and the Greyhounds. 95-57. NC State averaging, as you see, 35 bench points per game. Again, they got 62 last time out. Got 43 tonight. That has become commonplace. That's actually the 6th time this year they've cracked 40 or more from the bench.
Well, it's a luxury to have for any coach. I mean, you got guys that can get in foul trouble. You have guys that can get injured. And when you have a deep bench like that, it allows you to do a lot of things, especially allows you to play the style of basketball that Kevin Keats wants to play, which is up and down the court. You can't do that with 5 or 6 guys. When you've got 9 or 10 guys, it just plays right into exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, you need to have a lot of depth, and you also need to obviously score a lot of points as a team if you're going to get 40 or more off the bench. This is the 6th time this year that the Wolfpack have scored 95 or more.
They're explosive. You know, we've seen that a number of games. Now, granted, they played some teams that they've just overpowered. We get into the first week of the new year, things change a little bit going down to Miami, Florida, and then a quick turnaround against the Heels at the PNC. But this is a fun NC State team, and I'm actually really excited and looking forward to seeing how will this NC State team really fare against the teams in the ACC.
NC State giving a zone look to the Greyhounds.
You don't see a whole lot of zone out of a Kevin Keats team, but
just a couple minutes to work on it as Jones connects. Another 3 for him. He's got 3 on the night. Perfect 3 of 3 from behind the arc. That's been there time and time again.
I tell you, when you have a willing passer and a great athlete like Funderburg, it is a thing of beauty.
Jalen Andrews cans the jumper.
And I'll tell you, Andrew, you know, Loyola, there's a lot to take from this game positive for Loyola. You know, they were in it up until 2 minutes left in the first half. And they need to clean up things with their turnovers and a little crisper on the offensive end. Ooh.
Brandon Bradshear, sophomore guard from Ellicott City, Maryland, seeing his first minutes of the night. He went up strong, and Eric Lockett went up strong as well. Lockett will be called for the foul. You see, he wants to see the replay. He's looking up at the video board thinking, maybe I got all ball.
I tell you, that's a scary play. I think it was a nice, clean play. However, he almost came down hard on his back.
Loyola opens things up at home. They'll start off against Holy Cross and then go on the road at Lehigh. And they'll be glad to be getting back home to Reitz Arena because this is the end of their 5-game road swing.
It's tough. You know, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these mid-major schools, you know, they early in the season, they're on the road every game. And it's it's tough. You're in school trying to get things done, and you're always on the road. So they'll be happy to actually get into conference play where they've got half the home games.
Offensive foul. Brad Shear draws the charge. Just a couple of possessions left in this one. Fans wanted Ethan Norton to shoot the ball. Younger brother of Sam Johnson, and Norton didn't make the catch cleanly. And then just threw it to no one in particular. His older brother Sam, earning a scholarship going into this year, had been a walk-on player, made a few starts last year, earned a scholarship. And Ethan following his brother to Baltimore to play for the Greyhounds.
That's always great to see when a walk-on kid gets rewarded for all that hard work and sacrifice.
So NC State remains perfect against Loyola Maryland, 5-0 all time against the Greyhounds. They stay perfect at home, 10-0, and they improve to 12-1 on the season, a dominant 97-64 victory. And this was one that was a bit closer until about the final 2 minutes of the first half. After that, it was all Wolfpack.
Well, NC State did exactly what they had to do. They came in here, played their style of basketball, came out with the victory. Now everything changes come ACC play. Everything's for keep now.
It's the final game of the 2018 calendar year for both the Wolfpack and the Greyhounds. From our great crew here in Raleigh and my partner, Chris Corciani, thank you all so much for watching. Happy holidays and a happy new year coming up very soon. We'll see you in 2019, and these two teams will see you in conference play coming up on January 3rd for both of them. Again, final score, NC State 97-64. I'm Andrew Sanders saying so long from Raleigh. This has been a presentation of ESPN.